Welcome back to another episode of Who Am I to Judge podcast. I'm Alexis.
And I am Samantha. Welcome back,
Welcome
everybody.
back. How are you?
I'm good, enjoying these past couple snow days that
I
we've
know.
had.
I'm like literally back in my parents' house, and I was like, when I drove into our neighborhood, well, first of all, it's not plowed, and I was just like, oh my
hmm
god, like it is so much more snow than I was expecting.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, so I'm enjoying it as much as I can. It's definitely, the winter is not my favorite season, so having to bundle myself and Jupiter up every time we go outside is a chore, but
No, I feel you.
and Jupiter's not sure what to think about the snow. He's like, eh.
hmm
But anyways, so yeah, that's how I am. How are you? How are you feeling after your drive home?
I'm feeling good. I'm a little tired, but it is what it
You
is.
seeming like you're in good spirits.
Yeah, I'm in good spirits. Yeah, right here in the dining room talking to Samantha. Mella, I'm down here. Mella's like running from my parents' room to my room. Like, where is she?
Aww.
I'm down here, Mello.
Hello.
Mello. There she is.
Like we can hear her little nails.
I know. You see
Hi,
Mello.
Mello. No, you show her properly, Alexis. People want to
I'll
see.
show
Look at that cute girl.
you.
See? But anyways,
The ride was good. It's much more snow than I thought, though. So I'm like very. It was just surprising because New
and it's
York doesn't
also
have
like,
this much snow.
oh, sorry, yes. And I was also gonna say, just like, and you're coming home for a fun reason, like
I know.
you're coming home to relax on a
I'm coming home to go
vacation.
on a vacation. Okay, I'm so excited. I'm doing all the things like the rum tasting, um the boat, like the boat day, the ferry to St. Bart's. I'm going to St. Martin for my friend's birthday.
hmm
I'm just so excited. So it should be really fun, and just to have like a break from everything. I feel like
Yes, you haven't gone on like a tropical vacation in a long
in
time.
I mean, I would say the last time I went on a tropical vacation, was my family vacation to Jamaica 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And then prior to that, it was when I went to Cancun when I was living in Milwaukee. I went to Cancun with
hmm
my friend Meredith.
hmm
Um, so that's a minute.
Yeah, I need a vacation. I need a tropical vacation soon. But I hope that you send pictures. I know how you get. Like Alexis will just like not take pictures or send any pictures. Just like, come on, girl.
I'll just like go in a cocoon.
Just send them. Like the people here that are suffering in the snow want to see the beach of St. Bart's. Like, come on now.
You're hilarious. But yes, it should be fun. I'm just curious who's going, but again, that'll be funny. But yeah, I've been good. My day's
Maybe
good.
Alexis will have stories when she gets back for us.
Maybe anonymous stories. We'll see. Mello's scaring me because okay, so I got M&Ms when I was driving home,
Mm-hmm.
peanut M&Ms, and they
Mm-hmm.
were in like okay, like Mello's sitting in her car seat, I'm sitting in the like in the driver's seat, and then like there's like the like in the middle where you put your,
Yes.
like
The
waters,
armrests
yeah, the
and
armrest.
stuff.
So in one of the like drink holders, I put my M&M thing. So I mean, mind you, the car seat is like tall, so it's a pretty deep thing you have
Mm-hmm.
to do to get it. And also, it was one of the zip locks, and I'm pretty sure I zipped locked it or whatever. And so and so,
You was
um,
munching on them M&Ms.
and I was.
I know you
And
were
so,
smacking.
so I was like, she was just staring at me, just like staring. And then, like, I feel like 30, 40 minutes later, I was like, okay, you can get on my lap. So she gets on my lap, and then all of a sudden, I feel like I smelled like peanut. And I was like, was she eating a peanut M&M? And so then I like smelled her, and I was like, no, I think it's just the smell of
Mm-hmm.
from the open container. But I'm like, did she eat a
Mm-hmm.
peanut M&M? I say this because flash forward a couple months ago, I had dropped a peanut M&M in my bed and Mello had eaten one and like he
Oh
was like
no.
panting and like just
Oh
scaring me and
no. I
stuff.
remember that.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
remember this. And I was like, oh my God, is she gonna die? And I was scared to put her in the crate, so I had her sleep in the bed with me, all these things. So my long story short, she's been running around the house all day. So like she's been running around this house since we got here. So this could be the reason why she's panting. But right now she's panting standing on me. And I'm like, oh my God, did she now I'm
Oh.
freaking out. Like, did she eat a peanut M&M? Or is she like, or is this just from the excitement? And
Girl,
she's
keep your peanut M&Ms to yourself.
right. Like now I'm like, okay, I'm like never eating a peanut M&M again. Like, are you kidding? What's going on with Mello?
I know it's hard. They're allergic to the chocolate, but yeah,
And
hopefully,
peanut.
is she?
They can
Are
have
they
peanut
allergic to
butter,
it?
but peanut the nut is bad for dogs.
Oh, okay.
And so now I'm just scared.
She'll be fine. We're wrapping our loving healing around little Mellow's digestive system right now.
Oh my god.
She'll
Okay,
be fine. I know the feeling. So yeah, but she'll be good.
what's
But
been new?
Alexis,
Oh,
not what's been new with you. Let's talk about who's on trial this week.
you're crazy.
We're laughing because oh shit, oh my
What's
god.
wrong with you?
We're laughing because we said we're gonna just decide when we get on.
Just
Like
decide naturally, but she's making me decide with that child.
I'm just like, we gotta get there somehow. But we can
Okay.
talk. We can discuss about who's on trial this week. I
Well,
mean,
what's
there's
been on?
lots
I
of
guess
stuff.
what's been piquing your interest lately? Let's start there, and then I'll get into what's on trial.
Well, I've been deep into this the Twitter
Oh my god, yeah.
streets.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like that's. I mean, like you said, we've kind of lost the plot on that. So, like, I guess we could talk about Beyonce on Patreon, like the propaganda Beyonce of it all. But also, the fact that there's been such a crazy debate about biracial people and in the Black community and stuff. So that's been interesting. I'm trying to
What
think
is
there's anything.
interesting to you about that like argument? Like, what's been like surprising you,
I
or
mean, it's just surprising that it's become such a topic, like it is a serious. I mean, not as serious, but it has gone on for days and days and days and days. And it's just like, it has taken on a life of its own. And okay, so the initial video was from a biracial
Mhm.
creator named Han. And she
So
was
what does
talking,
she actually mix with? Because like, is she
she's
black
black
and
and
white?
white.
Oh wow,
Yes.
and it's just the genes work the way the genes did, where she's
Yes.
white-ish
To some
to
people.
some
Yeah.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
she can
Because
be
there's
passing. She's passing. I feel like at times.
Yeah, she can be, yes. But again, that's like a part of the whole debate. But anyways, so yeah, so she is biracial. She has a white mother and a black father.
Hmm.
And she made a video about how the Beyonce performance at the Super Bowl was propaganda, and that turned into another creator. I think her name is Devin.
Devin, yes.
It's like making a quick
Response.
quippy response and was like, don't talk about don't talk about stuff if
I feel like she says it so powerfully, but she's pretty much just like, if the first person you've ever, what did she say,
is
suckled
your
on
oppressor
was an oppressor, you
was your
cannot be,
oppressor,
like,
then you cannot talk about
right, you
this.
can't be talking about this. Basically insinuating if you have a white mother or just white parent, but in this case, white mother, like what you shouldn't be talking about this situation because you're not
Mm.
black and you don't understand what Beyonce was trying to do and you can't relate to the experiences she's talking about.
Yes, that is
And
that's her perspective. Yes.
so that starts this entire conversation, I feel like, on Black TikTok about
Yes.
like biracial people's experiences, Black people's experiences, who can talk about this, who can't talk about this. And I don't know, what are your thoughts? Like, there's been so many stitches, so many TikToks. What are your
So
thoughts?
many. There's so like it's you there's no way to keep up with it at this point. Um but I just feel like that argument kind of falls flat just because it's like, well, what if you were biracial from Houston? This
What does
was
that mean? Oh, but you're like
like
it's like you grew up in the place that she
yeah, like you understand because that's what a lot of people were saying is it's like this is Black Southern culture, and you might not understand if you're not from here or whatever. Sorry, and so I just am like, yeah, I just don't think it's about that, like about having a white mother more like I don't know. I just feel like that wasn't the
I mean,
that was like
I
okay,
feel like
go.
it's a bad critique too, because again, like just because someone has a white mother doesn't mean they. I mean, first of all, again, I always say this: there's not one black experience, right? Okay, let's put that on the table. So it's like the experience that Beyonce is talking about and Yaya and all these other things is her unique personal experience growing up as a black person with Creole roots living in Houston, right? That's totally different than my experience, right? But just because someone has a white mother doesn't mean they don't live the quote unquote black experience. We have people like J. Cole, we have people like Obama who from the from a blank eye, like, just a normal, like, quick look, some people wouldn't even think they didn't have two black parents. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
people would assume they've
And
had
there's some people with two Black parents that people
yeah.
be like,
And then there's
"Are
some
you
people with two
mixed?"
black parents, right? Who either in like the way their hair is, like I'm thinking about like one of our friends from McNamara, she has two black parents, but her hair is very fine. Somebody might think that she, like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody might think that she's mixed, but she's not. Like, just because, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is you can look plenty of different ways, even by having a white parent. So just because you have a white parent doesn't mean that you can't come to the conversation because genes will work the way genes do. And we have people like, again, I said J. Cole. We have
And
people
I
like
think that
Obama.
was just a way of like that it happens a lot where,
Exclusion.
biracial people get shut down
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
of that. And like, of course, like Han, I feel like because or Hannah, I don't know how to say her name, but like because she I feel like looks, maybe more white presenting, I guess, like that take was able to like kind of take fire and people are like
Hmm.
on one side or the other, and it's just like I feel like it's like we knew that these feelings were here, like we knew that they existed, especially after like the Drake stuff and like Kendrick stuff. But even in Kendrick's situation, like he's married to a biracial woman, so I feel like it's more so like biracial people that are having colonizer behavior or you
Yeah, it
know
just has to be deeper than that because I'm like, there's so many biracial people that like speak on this. Like, for example, um, we have Janae Aiko, we have Kaylani, we have
is Janae Aiko biracial?
she's black and Asian.
Oh, okay.
We have Kaylani, we have I mean, there's so many people, and it's just like
Zendaya,
Zendaya, no one ever brings
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. And so I feel like it's just a way. It's weird because I do feel like ultimately the infighting within the like black group, and when I say black, I mean people who are like phenotypically black. Like when you look at them, they are perceived as black people. Um, it's just like a tool to again like further like white supremacy because it's just like we are obviously stronger together. The fact that we're fighting about like, well, who can speak about this because you're not black enough or you're like it's just like at the end of the day, there needs to be, at the end of the day, we understand that, no, like I said, there's no one black experience. Everybody has a unique perspective and experience. There's no, in my mind, there's no point of like arguing whose experience is more valid than the other. Biracial people exist, and this is something that we have to get over. Like biracial people
And
exist. Biracial people
experienced
have an experience,
racism.
yeah, have an experience that is unique and also experience racism. They need a safe place to be able to talk about these things. And it's weird that like when
Yes.
they talk about it, are some people in the like I don't like the term monoracial, but some people in the community with two black parents and look phenotypically black and
Hmm.
not biracial are first reaction is to want to invalidate them or to compare our experience to theirs when really they're just coming to the table to share. We don't need to be comparing anything. I do
Yeah.
believe that they can speak about certain things and they should be able to
It
critique and talk
just
about art.
yeah, and it's like there's got to be a point where you um there's never like it's a losing game of like trying to, you know, tell who is biracial
And
or
I'm like, if
not.
you want to get into this thing of like, and I've had this conversation before, and that's all I'll say about that. But if you want to get into this thing of like who's black enough and who's black enough, like it's gonna get a little ugly because really, if we really pull up all our cards, like
All the receipts.
all the receipts, a lot of us probably have a lot more white in us than we thought we did. I mean, I wonder who it. I remember like a celebrity. They did an interview or something. Black presenting
Oh
celebrity.
yeah, and then I found out how much
They were
white
like
they have.
30% white. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Hmm.
so all I'm saying is like, if we really want to go there, we're really gonna like, we're gonna really have to all what pile up our papers and show what and what is it when you're 25% white, then you're not black,
That's what I'm
biracial. I mean,
saying. I made a little video today on my TikTok, and it was just like I was just like trying to share my experience because my mom's biracial, and so it's like so where does that leave me? It's just like, am I monoracial? Like, where do I am I black? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like there's not a game. Like, it's not fair to, I feel like, play those games. I also feel
I
like
agree. It's
I
dangerous to play those games.
yeah, and I mentioned in the video that I made that just like, I think being a biracial person and then experiencing racism in your own family is a type of trauma that is unique to their experience. It's just like
Mhm.
these people have your blood and they don't want to acknowledge you. And
Mhm.
so I feel like, and like a lot of the creators said, it's like, it don't matter as how much I want to be white. It's just like they're not about to
No.
accept you.
At the
So
end of the day, I mean, I forget who said this. It was like one of my professors, but like at the end of the day, whiteness will always show you you are not white if you're not, right? Like that's just how that's the
yeah.
tool, that's how it operates. That's
And
one of
there
its
are
like
people that are, delulu in their everybody is
what is Han
working through their own,
mm,
decolonization, because
and just identity,
I will
right?
tell
Like
you that there's quote unquote monoracial black women that are like, I want to have a baby with good hair. Like, that is not,
and even just like
that's
not
real.
even that, even like the most like micro things where it's just like black people who think that like you can't be black if you listen to like country music or pop. Or like black, like it doesn't even have to be as deep as like babies, but it's just like black people who think that like oh, like black people don't ski. Like, just little things that we perceive as not black and like we just say little
Yeah,
things
we
like
we
that. Like
really got
that
to
is
stop
all like
that, y'all.
unpacking. Those are things we all need to unpack of just like how internalized racism, how sometimes we what is it? What's the
Yeah.
word? We continue different narratives and put people in boxes as well, right? And so I feel
Yeah.
like I say that to say
Because
like
at the end of the day, the black white thing, this is a white man's creation. Anyways, keep going.
yeah, I just say that to say like even in the little ways of things of ways that we group and think about black people, the ways that we like talk about black people, sometimes we as black people can perpetuate narratives and the myths that were monoliths, like even that is telling of like the identity work we need to do. And then obviously sometimes it gets as deep as like you want to have kids with good hair, but I feel like sometimes it's even just like the daily things that like sometimes black people say that we don't even think about that are harmful.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
say that to say, at the end of the day, there are biracial black people that not that do experience racism and can also contribute to the conversation of racism. It does us no good to compare conversations of racism and who has it more racist. That's insane.
Yeah,
We need
because
to
it's a losing game. It's like
yes,
there's
we don't get a
always
medal
going to
for
be
racism. Like
somebody that has it worse,
right, exactly. And you don't get a medal for the most racism you experience. That's traumatic. But I
Yeah,
also am
that's
just like, again, Beyonce, I mean, again, there's obviously levels to it, right? You can't just be calling, like, a white person can't just be calling Beyonce an N word. But at the end of the day, like, she put on art for our eyes to consume at Beyonce Bowl, and
hmm
we're all welcome to come to the table and critique it. To say that somebody can't critique it is insane. Now, to talk about Black Southern culture and being like, well, maybe she's not the one to talk about it. I then want to argue that if you want to go there, then honestly, to me, it's like then you're basically saying any Black person who does not come from Black Southern
right.
culture shouldn't be
Shut the
talking about
fuck
it.
up.
So maybe I shouldn't be talking about it. Like at that point,
Right.
it's like any. So then we can go as further as to be like literally anyone that's not from like the fuck the what is it called the used to be
Bible
Union
Belt.
states, okay, the states that used to be a part, not the Union, sorry, the
I said
Confederate
Bible
states,
Belt.
right, the
Bible
states that
Belt.
used to be a part of the Confederacy are the only ones that be talking. Then I would like to see where Devin lives. To be honest, like I'd like to see where like everybody lives, because it's like if you want to go there, you're really
That's
going to
what I'm
start putting
saying. I'm like,
everyone on mute.
I'm like, what if Han was like, well, actually, I grew up in
I
Houston, so
think
what are
they
you
would be
talking
like,
about?
and I would actually be curious about that, what they would say, because I understand Creole is still black, but like Creole, is it like, doesn't, isn't that like from French line? Like I want to say at some point there is some white people
Oh
there.
yeah,
And so that's why I'm just like, I wonder if she's closer to it than
yeah. But you are
other
not
people.
going to look at, and I don't know if Mama Tina's mother is, biracial, but it's just like you're not going to tell her mama she not black. You know what I'm saying? Or just like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just silly because it's just. I also, one thought I had too. I'm like, just like you said, you know, we
So like,
all have an ancestor that was probably, whether it was their choice or, a product of great.
I agree.
It's
I just want
like,
to say this, sorry, before I,
don't disrespect. Sorry, let me finish this.
no, let you finish. I just want to like be correct about the Creole like race, and so
Okay.
it's a mix. It's a term for people used to that's mixed race descendants of Europeans and Africans born in the islands. Over time, their intermarriage with Amerindians and residents from Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. So that is a literal like biracial like lineage.
Yeah, like
And
that
so
is like
like, so it's
biracial.
just like, would Han actually be the perfect person to talk about this? That's why I'm just like, if you want to get that specific, you're going to start excluding many people, and it's going to become a party of exclusion and not inclusion.
Yeah,
And
yes. And we don't have the luxury of doing that. Like, the white people will be like, no. But I was just gonna say, it's just like at some point, like you're probably disrespecting one of your ancestors. It's just like I I say that with my full chest. I'm just like, you want
they're
to
going to be
talk,
like, not my
you want to talk
ancestor.
about mulatto, blah 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 blah. Like, I don't like biracial people. It's just like, what
Well, that's
about a
just the thing.
product of grape and they had no choice and they're
That's
your
what I'm saying. These are
ancestor?
people that
Just
are
like
born.
Malcolm X's mother.
Right. These are people born with no choice of who their parents are. But secondly, again, biracial people experience racism. Why can't they talk about it? Biracial black people sometimes go into spaces and aren't perceived as biracial. They're perceived as black. Why can't they speak on Beyonce? And I'm just, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I find it a
It's
very weird thing,
weird.
but I find
And
it
it's weird because none
from
of
a
these
place
people
of,
really know each other.
to me, it comes up from a place of hate and like internalized racism, and this is just my opinion, and maybe you feel like they feel triggered, maybe it's jealousy from internalized racism, maybe it's like,
I think
but
it's
it's like
hurt.
it's hurt, it's trauma, but it's coming from a place that's like, you for some reason don't, you want to make sure you put them on the outside, rather.
I
For
think it's
me,
hurt. Go ahead.
I think it's a lot of things. Like I think
Hmm.
they might not want to call it jealousy, but I do think it comes from a place of like, oh, they're more accepted and I'm jealous that I can't be, or they're more accepted by beauty standards and I wish I could. Like,
Yeah, maybe subconsciously.
and I think that might be subconscious, but I do think it's hurt too. But I think at the end of the day, biracial black people need a space in the black community where it is safe, and they should be able to talk
Yes.
about. I don't think that the conversation of Beyonce and whether it's in Black Southern culture and this black patriotism, that it's like they cannot come to that conversation, because at the end of the day, I will never forget actually this, when I was in college. um the I lived with my final 2 years. I lived with these. Sorry, yeah, my final 2 years of undergrad, I lived with these four other white people. They in a house. We all lived in a house. They literally, I will not forget. They were like, say something like, Beyonce's hair is so long and wavy. I was like, that's not her real hair. They were like, what? I was like, this girl is. I was like, this girl is a black girl. Like, not that black girls can't have long hair, but I was just kind of like, it is like one day it's like wavy, one day it's going straight, one day it's freaking. I
Hmm.
mean, it's like, and it's down
Right,
to
her
her butt crack.
braids
Like,
are, they're
I'm
not,
just
that's not
like,
her real
this is
hair.
not her real hair. And they were like, oh, we just like, and then I will never forget. They were like, oh, we always thought she was mixed, and I was like, no, like this is a black woman from Houston with two black parents. But I say that to say there are people that even look at Beyonce and don't fully, and these are white people. Obviously, white people have a different, I feel like, racial eye than black people. But like, they even looked at her and thought she might have been biracial. I say that to say, like,
That's
this
hilarious.
umbrella of black community has to encompass all of these things and has to be a community where we can all talk about it. Because I guess I'm trying to say it's like we are all perceived as like it's just so big. I guess is
Yes,
what I'm
you
trying to
are
say.
perceived
It's
as
so
black.
big.
Okay, even if whether
Exactly.
you like it or not.
Right.
Like, like
Exactly.
whether you're being corny about it or not. And I think that we have cornballs in, whether we want to talk about monoracial versus biracial, like there is cornballs in all of the
But that's why it
hemispheres,
was like going back to that conversation we had earlier when I don't want to talk about that conversation, but when I was rehashing a conversation I had with two of our friends, I had mentioned like this whole thing of like the idea of having a baby that's biracial. And like, I think this is a good example of showing
It's
like
biracial
why I
thing.
was kind of being like, well, I'd rather think it might be easier for the child to just be like, I came from a black sperm and a black parent and black mama, because it's just like they're in situations like this. This is exactly what I was talking about, where it's like they don't really have a safe space to talk about anything in the black community, even when they're perceived as black, because they get in this space and we're like, well, shut up. You're not black enough. You don't have black parents. You can't talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't experience it like I do. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they get with white people or whatever they are, Asian people, whatever their other half is, it's like, well, you're not Asian. You're not this enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, it seems as though it's a very hard place to land. And so that's why I was saying that before, where I was like, it might just be easier if I could just let's take this worry out of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but girl, yeah, TikTok is blowing up with talking about that. But I mean, I feel like I do want to ask you, because I feel like when we talked about Beyonce Bowl initially, it was just our like raw reactions.
Mm-hmm.
But now that the conversation has really taken off about it, do your thoughts change about Beyonce Bull, or do you have a more critical thought about it, or do you stay the same that like it
I
was a great
mean,
piece of art? Like, because now people are calling it propaganda, or now people are really questioning this idea of black patriotism, and I don't know.
yeah.
There's been a whole nother world that came out of it.
I mean, I definitely feel like I didn't really come out of it feeling any different because I feel like when I came into it, I have, and there's like a good TikTok, I think I sent it to you, that's like a lot of Beyonce fans like are mourning like this person that we just put up on a pedestal so high and like she means so much to us and still does. And it's just like, but at the same, however, or like, and she is a capitalist and doesn't really care if, my bills are paid or like somebody said like she doesn't care like if your lights are on tonight, and like and just as, a part like we I feel like just have discussed over the years just having a critical eye of Jay-Z partnering with the NFL and then like having that lens of like, okay, she's performing at this NFL game, like obviously this is in connection with Jay-Z's deal. And so I feel like, yeah, I feel like Beyonce, I feel like honestly, like I feel like Beyonce, because she is such a spectacle of just like meaning and whatever. I think it's propaganda just based off of her. Like I was watching actually Dune Part Two today,
Mm-hmm.
and this is actually it's the commercial. You know how Netflix plays like a little preview. It's like the propaganda is working. Like they think
Mm-hmm.
you're like the chosen one or whatever. It's like Beyonce as like a brand is, I feel like, a certain level of propaganda for even just herself, like just for her brand, And it's like that's okay, like for the definition or whatever. And even if we want to say like, okay, propaganda is always like has a negative
That's not
whatever.
true though. If someone were to say that,
Yeah, because if I mean, even if you think about brand, that's what branding is. It's just
yeah,
like we need to
exactly.
we need to get people
Everything
to
is
believe.
propaganda. pretty
Yeah,
much.
commercials,
Yeah,
advertising, pretty much it
posters,
is.
like advertisements, anything.
Yes, trying to
Every
convince you that this
that's why
is good, that you want
That's
it.
why, yeah. Like, I remember learning about, like, when we talked about curriculum in school, like, we usually think about curriculum as, like, very academic and formal. But anything that teaches something is curriculum. It could literally be like me watching an episode of The Bachelor. I'm learning how gender norms go, right? That's curriculum.
Right. Oh, okay.
It's just informal. I say that to say that I think of propaganda in that way too. Everything is propaganda in the sense that, like, at the end of the day, everything, anything, whether it's a freaking
We're supposed to take
whether
something
it's a
from
thing on
it.
my phone, everything is
Yeah.
pushing some type of narrative, belief, or
Even if
cause, or
it's Black Pride, you know,
even if
like even
even
if
if
it's
it's
like,
Christmas, like, what I'm saying? It's
yes,
like everything, even if it's Valentine's Day, like everything is pushing
yes.
something.
And it's like
So I
she
say that to
wants
say,
us to take something
right,
from
you
it.
want to, anything that makes you think about something is propaganda. And so I say that to say, like, yes, Beyonce just standing in a room imposing in a leotard is propaganda. Okay, it's just like, but I'm not saying it's bad. Like, it doesn't always have
Do
to
you mean
be.
like where she is, you know,
I'm saying
or
she represents something, right? What does she represent?
mhm,
She represents, at one point, her whole stance was feminism, right? She would literally have that thing like behind her with
mhm,
the poem and I am not God, all those things. Like, so her standing in her on a stage, feminism, black pride, black
mhm,
woman, independence, independent women, all these things.
mhm.
Just her symbol, her body image,
Yes.
everything. And
Right.
so I say that to say, like, it doesn't, propaganda does not at all mean you're pushing something negative. Propaganda could be pushing something good. Brush, like, what, dare, like, don't do drugs, kids. That was propaganda. That was
Mhm.
pushing
Yep.
good. I say that to say, yes, absolutely. Beyonce is a brand. Beyonce, whenever she performs, Beyonce, anything is propaganda at this point because her image represents so many narratives behind it.
Yeah. And I
I'll,
think it's
and that's not
okay.
bad. That's not bad. It's
Yeah, and I
powerful.
think it's important for us to just I think it is important for us to like watch these celebrities moves at this like these choices at this point. Like these are deliberate choices, and like you said, you can, like me, there's people that can enjoy it, like still have that, it does something for my inner teenager, my inner child, my inner diva or whatever to
Hmm.
like see Beyonce perform and like
Hmm.
whatever that does for me, whether
Hmm.
that's motivate me or inspire me.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I can also be realistic about,
Hmm.
I mean, that's what you're doing with everything,
Hmm.
everybody. So, like,
Hmm.
when you're going to buy your favorite, liquor brand, it's like they have a, personality
I
that at
mean,
the top of it, it don't look like how it
right,
does at the bottom.
the logo, the
Right.
bottle,
It's not,
everything.
it's numbers and cents when it comes to like sales. You know
I
what
mean,
I'm
it's just
saying?
nonsense to me, and that's why, like, I mean, we
But it
are
makes me
BeyHive,
sad because
but
it's
it's just
so
sad because it's
crazy.
just like there should be, you have to touch grass. Like, there has to be a situation where you understand, like, this is
And
not
it's
our friend.
okay.
She's
It's
not an angel. She, yeah, no, ain't,
exactly. She
yeah.
told
Like,
us
she told us she's no angel. Like,
we love
my baby. And that's why
baby.
I'm just like, it's just sad because I'm like, she's like, she is up, she does things that are bad sometimes. She does things that are good. She literally will put on a performance, and it literally, like, of course it's propaganda. Think about it. She literally did a performance for 20 minutes and it has caused like weeks of conversations.
Exactly.
Why? Because some people were interpreting it as pushing black southern culture. Some people were interpreting it as pushing black patriotism. Some people were seeing it as demonic. Some people were seeing it as, it's like, it's literally, so many people were thinking she was pushing something.
Not
She's
demonic.
absolutely propaganda. It's just not, I mean, it's not negative propaganda, but it absolutely
And
and look at her
everybody,
lyrics. Of
and
course,
at
by
the
the
end
time
of
she
the
gets over
day,
$1 million on an elevator, she's literally pushing being a billionaire. Like,
I'm
it's just
like,
like, there's so
yeah,
many things.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's been interesting seeing that conversation, but I'm just like, yeah, Devin, girl, touch grass, because
Or
Beyonce don't give
everybody,
Beyonce don't
everybody that's capable
care if you pay your bills this week, if something
if
happens
you're
to your
depressed, if something
grandma,
just happens to you,
if you
like,
can't, right, if something happens to you, you're in the hospital tomorrow, she don't care. And so it's just weird that y'all are caping so hard for somebody who just really
and
does not care.
and it's just
Um,
like I just don't. I'm sorry, I just don't buy the like. Don't talk about. Black
Me either.
Southern culture, but also like this Black patriotism. That's been an interesting like thing because I didn't see many videos, but I have seen some videos that are just like I'm
I'm proud.
proud. Yeah, it's like I'm proud to be an American, and
Okay,
like
they can be proud to be American.
I've heard that like of our ancestors and everything that
They can be proud to be an American alone in a corner. I don't like it's to me it's just like it's I would like to know what they're proud of. Like I
building this
don't I
country.
mean and look, no judgment. I would really like to know what they're proud of because even like even the strength and the obstacles my ancestors have overcome, from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, it's still like riddled with struggle. It's still
And
riddled with struggle
trauma
they didn't shouldn't have had
shouldn't
to
have to
endure.
endure.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I can be maybe what you're really proud of is like you're proud of your ancestors, you're proud of your
Yes.
family line, you're proud of your heritage.
And what we've been able to create out
Right.
of that.
But I'm like, your heritage is not American. Your heritage is more so black and
I
like
mean, like, but that's the thing about it. It's like, okay, then we go back to it's like America is black history, and
yes.
what were we in history? It's like we were the people that yes built the country against our will as
Right.
like products
And I guess I would
and
call that, and I guess you're right. Black history is American history. So yes, we would call it American history, but
not by choice, not by like
yeah,
birthright, like
we're
not by like, and that's like a name that the colonizers gave it, or I don't know, was it the Americas before
I mean, that's why, like,
Native
in grad
Americans moved
school,
here?
I had people were introducing the term of like like I forget the correct term, but it was like unwilling immigrants, or like it's like basically a term for like
We
people
need
like
something like
us,
that.
where it's like, yes, we are, like, yes, like it's like we did not want to come here, we were forced to come here, and it's like, yeah, unwilling. I wish I want to come. I want to remember the correct term because it was like the perfect way to encapsulate like Black people in America, and I feel like
And I am like,
and I also would love to know if our ancestors were proud to be American. I don't know if they would have said
yeah,
that.
and I don't know either. I just feel like, and at a certain point, like again, the propaganda of, what America is, white picket fence, I'm proud to be an American, like that is all propaganda. And so I do feel like slowly, Black people have become more proud to quote unquote be American. But I feel like towards maybe the beginning of the stuff when we and I think there was always a population of people that like were spitting on America but like
Yeah.
I think just as time goes on and as generations of like I think about the movie The Butler, it's just like a centuries of things go on. You're like, I'm proud to do my job and but it's just like that's what they want you to
I feel
be.
like I think that's a product of brainwash. Like I don't know if that's actually a product of
And
like,
I'm proud of my ancestors and my like genetics that I
and
know
I think that's
that
different.
I have good, healthy, strong, resilient,
Yeah.
rhythm
And I don't know
and
if that's the product of American. I think that's the product of your
yeah.
ancestors and maybe our DNA
We're
back in
probably
Africa.
giving America a little too much credit. And not saying that we can have that too. We can have the fact that we've built this country literally, but
And I just like
again, against our will.
and I
And
would
they're
just like
never
to
going to hand
talk
it
to these
over.
people because I feel like they were like, well, us and like I just saw some TikToks being like, in the Black people in the South, like we're and I'm like, no, like all of my cousins in the South, I'm positive I called my aunt Bernice right now, who's 90, she would not say she's proud to be American. Like that's why I'm just like, I don't know. I just think I don't
And
know.
like some people
I just
that
would love to get
question
someone
is so
on.
that question is so layered.
I just want
But
to
I
ask
think
them
like
what is it?
the American flag, I have never felt a connection to. And people
No.
were trying to act like we are reclaiming the flag and I'm just like I
No.
think maybe it was imagery of that, of like
This is the thing.
I
She's
think
got
she was
power.
taking it. I
she's
think
not
she's
powerful enough to reclaim the flag. And I'm not, and this is me saying as a beehiver, like
right.
at the same time, you're like, it's like literally January 6th was yesterday. Those people were
Yep.
literally 4 years ago, like with the American flag on the Capitol. Like it's just like you're not powerful enough to like to put a whole restaging, rebranding of the American flag off of one album. It's just not gonna happen. At the end of the day, it still represents in America like nationalism.
And
Like,
I'm like, we could have like, and I do agree. Like some people are like, we could have, you know, I don't know, turned it upside down or did
girl, oh my
like
God, if she had done
did the
that, they would have been
did like
burning her album like they did the Dixie Chicks.
the
Okay.
green, blue, and I mean not green, not blue, green, red, and black flag. You
A
know,
whole lot of red and that white and blue. Imagine if it was like a flag with blood dripping or something. They would have
oh my
canceled her so
god, they
hard.
would have. But that's the thing. It's like, what rules are Beyonce playing by? It's like, where
Mm.
are like
Well,
I need people that are I need us to get on the same page. Like, we don't want to uphold this. We do what we have to do. We vote because that's what one thing we can do in our power right now. But we are not like, yay, America. Like, woohoo. We're doing what we have to do to survive and to hope for a better day that we are not crushed by white supremacy and capitalism. And
and
I'm
that's
just
why,
like,
like, I don't know. Like, we'll get into this another day because I do think we should wrap it up a little bit, and I need to take Mel out. But like, I've
and
been
like,
thinking about this a lot.
oh
Like,
yeah.
and this is like it's still on topic, but jumps a little like would break my soul came out. I remember like there's like Beyonce said, there was a lot of like darkness in the world, obviously the pandemic, and so she was trying to bring a little like fun and joy and light.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, you cannot it's kind of like cosplay a little bit sometimes when I think about it when it's like with Break My Soul, because I'm like, it's like, release your job, forget the rest, forget the
I
stress, you
mean,
won't
for
break my
sure.
soul. And I'm just like, your pandemic was not our pandemic.
Beyonce loves to
Your
cosplay
pandemic,
like she's like us.
right, your pandemic was flying to France, flying to Malibu, living in your house here, living in your house here. My pandemic was in like a 400 square foot apartment in Austin. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like,
Alexis.
where I was working 3 jobs plus going to get my PhD while you could decide which day you wanted to work, right? And so it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, I say that to say, I actually kind of
It's
I kind of forget how I was going to tie it to what you were
I'm
saying.
just like
I had a point though.
it leans into the parasocial relationship of the propaganda that Beyonce wants you
Right,
to
that
think
was
that
it.
you
That
are
was it.
relatable.
That
It's
was it.
like,
That was it.
because that's what she's giving us songs to sing,
Right, that's what I was
you
saying. Like this
know?
idea, like sometimes, and I
And
don't
it's a
know.
little bit offensive because it's like, this is not, please do not romanticize the fact that I'm getting $16 an hour and I'm
Or
working
even
all
just
day,
like
that I'm
life is hard
overworked.
and it can crush your soul. It's like, girl, you don't understand. Like, it's like you don't understand. Like, again, there are people during this pandemic who couldn't pay rent who are going to food banks,
And
right?
I
Like,
know that Beyonce works hard. I know that she,
mm,
deals with a
yes, she does with
lot of
life just like
stress or
other
whatever,
people's
but
life.
it's
But
not monetarily
and also,
stressful.
I just feel like
And
people need
that's
to get
huge.
real. People need to get real. There has been scientific facts about money making people happier and making life easier. There's a certain level of money where like you don't deal with
All
certain
my
things.
problems
So
would
it's
be
like,
solved
yes, we're not
but,
saying we're not saying that like she doesn't deal with anything. She's not a human, but we're definitely
and
saying
works
though that
hard.
it doesn't work hard. But we are definitely saying that her being a billionaire allows her to escape a lot of the struggles, daily struggles that people like us do.
That she's
So,
talking about.
so it's just
Like,
like, I don't know, it's kind of like
release your
cosplay.
job,
Right, forget the rest. Break my soul as if you have as if like you
have enough
have
pressure.
enough pressure to be broken.
And
You
also,
have
like,
you could get a massage every day, lady. You could fly to your favorite
exactly.
restaurant in Germany tomorrow. You could have
Or
every
just
of your
like,
heart's
it's
desires
almost like hang
tonight.
in there. It's like
Right.
hang in there. And it's like, no, bitch, I want to go on vacation too. Okay.
Forget the rest.
I want to have kids. Like, I want to be able to take care of my fucking family and have a legacy and
Girl,
generational
it's
wealth.
crazy. That's
But
crazy.
that's my thing. It's like,
But
And
let's say your point and then
we're
let's wrap.
going to. I have I have two more points. Okay, sorry, Alex, you make me laugh. Okay, two more
Mhm.
points. Yes, like Beyonce, we want to have. I feel like it is definitely like. I feel like it is cosplay, and even like Jay-Z talking about how you're like you look funny if if you're the only person with money and everybody next to you don't have money. It's like, so you really are just talking about your one generation. Like, I just feel like it should be such a. I just can't believe that our black billionaires are not funding black people as a whole to
Let's
get
get
us
into
back
that.
on
Let's get
track.
into the next episode because I actually think that could be an episode on its own.
My last thought, that could also be an episode of its own, probably. This leftist versus liberal debate needs to seriously end, because that, I think, in terms of like
I think that's
on.
the reason why Kamala lost because we could not get on the same foot.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that is the point, like, of Hannah. I know she like says this word leftist, like liberals and leftists and
Mm-hmm.
neoliberals and stuff. It's like, that's where you're losing people, because it's divisive and it sounds really
And
weird.
and there's a point, and we'll get into this later because I do think this is an episode of its own, but I do think that like there is a point where one of those groups attempts to be on a moral high horse to the point where they will like, even if it's good for their cause or goes or close enough to their cause, they will completely throw it away because they want to be on a moral high horse. But we'll get into that later because I do think
Yeah.
it's its
And
own.
it's just
Maybe we'll
like,
talk about that next time. But I do think that's an interesting
yeah. And
idea.
it's just like, and I
So
think that episode could be, there's no ethical consumption. So none
no,
of you guys are, nobody is an angel. Okay. So,
yeah, no. Angel, Eva.
Eva, baby,
All right, well,
baby,
let's
put your
wrap
arms
it up
around me.
because I am
Okay.
tired. I have just got out of the car and
Alexis
go out.
is going to bed. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Please email us your discussion topics or any ideas at who am I to judge at pod. Who am I to judge pod at gmail.com. We have our PayPal in the descriptions for donations. And yeah, we'll see you guys
Next
next
week.
week.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to email us your discussion topics at whoamitojudgepod at gmail.com. Also, remember to subscribe to Who Am I to Judge podcast on Spotify and everywhere you get your podcast. If you love us, please rate us and review. And if you don't, leave us alone. Tell a friend to tell a friend. See y'all next week. Bye, friends.